I'll say that this week on Wednesday, I was speaking with the Business Development Bank. I saw one of you here today, and to the entrepreneurs there. And the last question, after 75 minutes of questioning, the last question was, if you had a billboard and you had to say just a few words about yourself to describe who you are on a billboard, what would you say about yourself? I'm going to challenge you to that. Okay, go and think about this. I had trouble answering that question. You guys know that I started talking the minute I was born, and I never stopped, and don't say a word to my brother. It's true that I'm quite a talker. And I had no idea what to say. I was stumped. And so I spent some time thinking about it. And I think that the words I would put on my billboard would be, what's possible? And I reflect on when I was 16, I took an OC Transpo bus in those days, the OC, and went down and had an interview for this job for a staffing firm. And I just wanted to carry a briefcase. I was that little kid who just wanted to kind of grow up and be in an office. And I worked there for 4 years. And when the company was closing, I met this really cute boy. And we decided to start a company together. And we said, what's possible? What's possible for staffing? What's possible for the future of candidates and really championing the strengths of people in our community? And so without much capital, we really took leaps and bounds forward. Excuse me. And as we grew and developed the company with all of our heart and soul, we were able to make so much impact. And in those leaps and bounds, we also, as someone said, we had 4 daughters. I mean, that's no small accomplishment. And I'll tell you, being a working mom, and many of you here are working parents, and I know how hard you work as a working parent. And I would sometimes bring my infant to a board meeting. I remember going over to the ADM's office at Public Works, now called PSPC, and they would give me the office so I could nurse and change diapers between meetings. You want to talk about work-life integration? That was kind of the life I led with all 4 of my girls. And after that, what was possible became the impossible. We talked about Tony. And, prostate cancer, goodness, you think that this is not a killer, but in fact, for some people, 1 in 6, it's very advanced. I encourage you to always take your health very seriously. And so Tony, when he was sick, I was not able to contribute to others. They had to contribute to me. And I will tell you that so many Ottawa people came to my rescue. I would show up at home, and there'd be groceries at my door, a lasagna from someone I didn't know. People, my family, driving my kids around all the time. The Durrell hockey and water polo and all of those things. And I was very grateful for what you made possible for me. When he passed away in 2016, oh my goodness, I had to really redefine what would it look like to be a leader in the future and what was possible for me as an individual parent and an individual leader and what I could do with that. And what I looked at was that what was important to me was that, financial metrics and numbers, they all matter, but the human capital piece is equally important. One without the other, it's not possible. I see all of these business leaders here, and I know you all think the same thing, right? It's money, but it's really about the people. And so I really strove to hire coaches and redefine what my strategic plan would look like for the future and what differentiation would be and how I could show up as the leader that I wanted to be. What I learned in that process was that a big part of it was not being performative. And I use those words because I know as leaders, sometimes we feel we have to show up for others and we have to perform. But sometimes not performing, just being our true selves, is just the ultimate gift to others because we're just showing up as ourselves. And so then here we are in our upswing and things are beautiful. And then all of a sudden, don't we get hit with this germ, which I think that probably isn't a fair statement. It's a virus or, a pandemic, but I'm so tired of the word pandemic and COVID. I almost just don't want to use them. I feel like they're so overdone. But in that period, as you said, we lost 800 of our candidates, 800 layoffs within 4 weeks, and 40% of our revenue. And so we really drilled down our team, and we worked so hard to get Canadians back to work. And we honestly, our mission was just really going for it and working so hard to get people back to their employment. And, in addition to getting people back to work, we also faced this whole other challenge around mental health. We saw that a lot of our team members who formerly were always so, positive were facing sadness and loneliness and all the challenges of suddenly being at home and the uncertainty of COVID. And in those mental health challenges, you would say to someone, how are you? And they'd say, well, I'm a 6, but I'm pretending to be an 8. And I think we can all relate to that, can't we? That experience of just not quite being ourselves. And so in that journey with our employees, we really changed things. We went to we pay 10 days, but people work 9. And the 10th day is a free and flexible day to create kind of this notion of balance. And we also created digital detox days where there are 3 days in a row where you're not allowed on your Netflix and your phone. And, we went to a remote first culture, and what that means is that we do have our offices. 102 Bank is still our home, and 330 Bay Street, of course, we still have our offices. However, you can choose to work at the office or at home, and we're seeing a little bit of both, and it's really pretty beautiful. So remote first really worked. And if it wasn't enough to have all those layoffs and mental health, we also faced, everything around diversity. I mean, there was George Floyd, and Black Lives Matter, and Asian Lives Matter, Truth and Reconciliation, and residential schools. If you think of all of the journey that has occurred in Canada, it's pretty powerful. And I would say that for me as a leader, I thought that the problem of racism was over there, that it had nothing to do with me, which is a little odd when I think of it today, because I feel like once we dug into the subject and created our strategic plan and brought in coaches and really examined how we could make a difference in diversity, it changed everything. Because my mom would always say to me, be careful of your thoughts, because your thoughts become your actions. And there's such a truth in that, isn't there? In that I feel that with diversity, I don't think there was enough thought that I was putting into being intentional. And I think if the pandemic showed me something, it was about intentionality. And in our planning around diversity, we brought our clients in. We talked about allyship. We looked for bias in our recruitment process. We looked in bias in, in how we hire and how we place and how we promote in all parts. And I mean around race and religion and gender diversity and persons with abilities and disabilities. And I found that once we showed up differently, everyone shows up differently. And it's a really beautiful thing to challenge our mindset in this way. And this is where, when we talk about that billboard about what's possible, the possibility around diversity is so great. So as we advance, I'm almost done, I really appreciate that something that all of us did as a team is that we gave everything we knew back. So as we struggled with virtual onboarding, I mean, that was so difficult during this period on Zoom and MS Teams, and everything else that was difficult in the virtual environment, we shared it with all of our clients, our candidates, our employees, our friends, our competitors, anybody. Come to the table, we'll share with you what we're learning. And in that process of giving back, we got a lot. So the possibility of being in one community was just so great. And it's really, really special that we were able to come together in that way. So I guess, in sum, this whole experience of being a leader in this time has really taught me about what I said before about not performing and really showing up as the leader that I intend and want to be. And so I do want to say that something that's lifted me up is you. I want to thank you. When I say thank you for the award, I mean it with such genuine care. Thank you to the mayor for shepherding the city through this tough time. And I really want to thank Michael Curran of the Ottawa Business Journal, and also Su Ling Ching. I can't see you because of the light, but I want to thank you for everything that you brought, and to Ian Sherman. And I see many of my friends here in Boyden. Thank you so much for this honor. Je voudrais aussi remercier l'Université d'Ottawa et l'école Telfeur, la vision de l'école de créer un Canada plus vert, plus heureux, plus prospère et plus en santé. C'est vraiment quelque chose que je partage avec vous. Et merci beaucoup pour le support que vous m'avez amené. Merci. So, to sum it up, what I'd like to say is I want to thank my team. Thank you for everything that through this journey, I've needed so much to rely on you, and you have been, truthfully, the most incredible team. We have lived our highs and lows together, And it's been an incredible journey, and thank you for being you. And to my parents who are not here, because my mom said, you know, you're 54, but you're still my baby, and I'll cry the whole time. So she didn't come. But I know she'll watch this, and she'll be so proud, because my mom and dad have always believed in me and lifted me up, and there's a power in being a parent and lifting your children up and telling them that you believe in them. So I'm going to leave you just with this last thought, that when you're thinking of your billboard, I really hope that you reflect on what those few words would be when you're driving by and there's a big placard with bright lights. What would your placard say? What would your billboard say? And I think I would say that what's possible would be on mine. Thank you.